Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the interview. Today we have Mr. Strath Goodship. Mr. Goodship, thank you for coming by.
Well, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, Mr. Goodship, actually, you know Miranda Technologies, we talk about it on the Swing Trading Show, but can you explain to us, especially, what does your technology do? In simple terms, try to.
Okay, well, we have many products, but essentially what we do is we provide technology that helps mostly broadcasters, so the people who aggregate content from various sources, whether it's Hollywood or news sources and advertising, they aggregate that content and deliver it over a channel or multiple channels. So that technology is everything from maybe high-definition infrastructure electronics that allows to convert signals maybe from one standard to the other, to create maybe Dolby surround sound that is popular with consumers, right through to then managing that content to be scheduled to be put to air. So it's actually quite a complex chain of events, and we provide most of the infrastructure that allows them to do that.
Okay. Actually, the companies, broadcasters actually are adding a lot of investment into to be able to build a new infrastructure, because with the internet that's coming around, I know there's some new challenges that facing broadcasters. You see that that you had to step up your game to be able to respond to this.
Well, we're a bit like in any high technology market. You always have to keep on your toes and step up your game. Well, I'd say there's two things. So the existing broadcasters, the traditional broadcasters, are certainly having to consider the competition of other media, and therefore what they're looking at doing is essentially taking costs out of their operations. And the best way to do that, like software has done, or IT technology has done for many years, is to put in new technology. But we're also allowing a new generation of broadcasters. And one right here, it doesn't have to be done over traditional means. You can do it over the internet, and we provide the infrastructure that allow new broadcasters, to do that as well.
Exactly. Excellent. In the last 2 years, you have acquired two companies, Envision in 2008 and Omnibus this year. Not this year, in 2010. Yeah, but so how do you still plan to continue to grow through acquisitions?
Yes, absolutely. It was always part of our plan. When we went public in 2005, we raised money to make acquisitions. Despite the fact that we're very careful with our R&D spending, we spend a considerable amount, about 14-15% of our revenue, but it's never quite fast enough. And through acquisitions, it allows us to take some significant positions in new sectors, new sub-segments within that value chain. So yes, we'll continue to do it. We're often criticized for not doing enough acquisitions, but I'd say we're very careful to carefully select, carefully pay the right amount, or not too much, and certainly carefully integrate.
But do you usually issue more debt when you acquire them, or you use your cash?
We use our cash typically. That's why we raised it. It's typically the best way. With
the current interest rate environment, you think the situation is pretty favorable for our companies? Because usually in the past year, you see the acquisitions has been a new pockets of growth for shareholders.
Yes, absolutely. And we have taken on a little bit of debt to do it. I mean, we still have a net positive cash position. We've certainly got the assets within the company to raise considerably more debt. It's a little odd for technology companies to put a lot of debt on the balance sheet. I mean, when our share price is back to where we believe it should be, I think that's also a currency that we could use as well.
Excellent. And your strategy, when I look at your website, is to be a leader in your sector. So what steps have your company taken since you've been the CEO of the company? What steps have you taken to be able to reach that goal?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, as you'll find in any sector, I think we spent a lot of time making sure that we are absolutely synchronized with our customers. So we try to feel as much as we can their business issues, their pain. And
is it the 360 team approach that you're talking about?
Well, yes, it can be. I mean, we involve our customers very much in defining our product roadmap, but really is dealing with their business issues. It's not, for them, it's not about technology; it's about business. So we are always looking for ways at helping them perfect and improve their business. So that's what we're going to continue. I realize it's a very general answer, but it's easy to get caught in the technology trap and the wizardry of it all. But I'd say we very much focused on business issues.
So actually, one of your things that differentiate you from others is the fact that you still want to innovate. So you spend about 14 to 16% of your revenues on innovation. So usually, how do you? Because when you come up with a new technology, usually there's this kind of resistance of the companies. They're scared of the new technology, or is it going to be up to date? So how do you position yourself to be able to diminish, of course, that's reluctance to be able to adapt this new technology easily and to sell them?
So it's a very good question, because you're absolutely right. There's always a certain resistance to change, but I think it's up to our sales force. We have a very high quality, high caliber sales force. It's up to them to convince the customer that, look, there's a certain risk. There's always risk in going with the latest technology, but it's a risk-reward balance, and we're sure to present them the rewards, and they typically go for it. Some of them are prepared to even go on as beta customers or beta sites and help us actually develop that leading edge too.
But with of course, you explaining, so it's really a sales force that are going to help you maintain that leading position that you want to reach. But do you still think that with the acquisitions that you made, you spent a lot of money, 100 million on both, so you think you still can keep the 14-16% percentage of revenues dedicated to innovation and technology?
Yes, we'll absolutely continue to, as well as make acquisitions. So, because one thing, so fine, we can continue to develop our own platforms, but I'd say, well, as I said earlier, when you acquire, a very important piece is the integration, and it's not just the human integration, which is often the hardest part. It's the product integration, and what we can't allow to happen is have our products sit in silos the way they were before the acquisition. So we spent quite a bit of R&D money just making sure that our products are as seamless as possible, that they work together.
Okay.
So no, we'll continue to invest.
Thanks. But because and types of when companies acquire the companies, usually the synergies that they were expecting doesn't happen. You remember News Corporation acquired MySpace for $200 million, something like that, and they had to sell it for $35 million. But you, in 2 years, 2 companies you acquired, you're still able to make some profits. What's your secret?
Well, I'd say if there is such a thing as a secret, I think there are many companies that do this maybe even better than us. But we spend an awful lot of time ahead of the acquisition, very carefully thinking about the integration, where the touch points are, how we can best fit them together, how we present them to our customers, and of course, as I said, the big challenge is always the human integration, and we spend a lot of time trying to get that right. Lots of experience of running remote operations on an international. We're all over the world. We have offices in most of the major centers, so we have a certain amount of experience in integrating a new workforce in there. So I think that's probably the success is just very, very careful planning, and then realizing even once you've closed the acquisition, you still got 90% of the work to do.
But when you talk about human integration, you mean like you delegate a lot because Omnibus is from Omnibus is from London.
Yeah.
So how do you manage? Of course, it's a different culture. Well, I'm sure you're from Europe, but is it a different culture? North America doesn't think the same in terms of business, so.
Yeah, well,
because you can't really, human integration is the hardest part, but how?
Well,
that's the thing that's really.
Well, I think the important thing is to. I think what we think of ourselves as not necessarily a Canadian company. I think we are a global company.
Okay.
Only just a little over half our workforce is actually based in Montreal. This is where we do our manufacturing. Okay. We have a large R&D center as well, but we have quite a bit of R&D in California. We have now probably about 120 people in the UK. We actually have 2 organizations in the UK. Our first acquisition in the UK was 10 years ago. We also have an acquisition in France. So again, it's considerable experience at managing on an international scale, and I would say it's got a lot to do. Even though we've centralized a lot of the decision making, it's also appreciating that we're not just Canadian, that we really are a worldwide company. And I think that a lot, I dare say, opens our mind a little bit to accepting a new culture.
Okay, excellent. But in terms of monitoring solutions that you offer to your customers, what do they do especially? Like, is it like to track where they are, what they're doing, like the kind of Twitter stuff?
No, not at all. It's not surveillance. It's really monitoring in the sense that So for instance, I'll take CBC, Radio-Canada. They have a network that goes across the country. I believe they have something like 28 different sites, but there are periods during the day. So in the evening or at night, they are unmanned.
Yeah.
And our monitoring system allows those sites to be unmanned. So Toronto and Montreal are the hubs, the English and French network. And if anything goes wrong in Regina or St. John's, they can immediately find out in Toronto or Montreal, but they can also control the system remotely and do something about it. So it's that type of monitoring system. What would have had to be 28 manned sites 24/7, we allow them to bring back. But we've also, for instance, Verizon's developed a very large television network over the last 6-7 years. Well, we've done all their monitoring, and it allows them to regroup just a handful of operators in a few strategic sites and provide the highest quality of experience, as it's now called, to their consumers, and it's through monitoring technology like ours.
But do you still give them the technical support after? Because what I'm understanding is the fact that, of course, less resources in terms of but more technology to be able to integrate at a lesser cost. But do you still provide them the technical support?
Well, we support the product, but they actually deliver. They drive the system. They operate the system. We don't operate their system. It's within their organization. But absolutely, this is long-term support. We provide them regular updates. They also change their network adapts, and we're there to support them through those changes. So.
Okay, excellent. But what I was looking at your corporate presentation, what I first found interesting is the fact that your international sales for the first time exceeded the ones that you had in the U.S. So which means that you're a global company, so you're targeting the emerging markets right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The emerging markets are key. Yeah. The U.S. we used to always think is 50-55% of the world's television. There are 1,600 televisions in one country. This is it really all television technology companies focused on the U.S. I would say that the real boom right now is the emerging markets. We focused principally on China, the Middle East, a couple of countries in South America and Eastern Europe. And that's television is just being invented on a large scale in those areas, or being transformed, or in fact still going to high definition. We think that high definition is over, but in fact the U.S. and Canada are highly penetrated, but the rest of the world is still taking on HD. So that's I'd say is really where we're seeing a lot of momentum.
But in terms of technologies that acquire the latest technologies, or are they mostly acquired not the old one, but
well, they tend to. So we take emerging markets specifically. I mean, their emphasis is not to take out costs, and therefore they don't necessarily go for some of the latest software platforms that are highly automated. They'll go for a more traditional hardware platform, but it's still a new technology. It's just a little more costly to operate, but offers some other benefits. I mean, there's always the stability of hardware versus the stability of software. It's a much more stable platform. So I'd say that's typically what they go for. So we have to actually offer both extremes.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think our viewers learn more with you were able to get a clearer view of your technology. I really appreciate the time you took to come by, Mr. Goodship.
Well, thanks for having me and letting me explain.
No problem. I'll come by if ever you have new improvements in your technology.
Thank you.
You're welcome.